Welcome to Both Sides Now, featuring the unconventional duo, Dr. Shirley and medium Kelly White. Two perspectives, one world. This is Both Sides Now.
Hey everyone, welcome to Both Sides Now. I'm Dr. Shirley.
And I'm spiritual medium, Kelly White.
And wonderful John is here too.
Hey ladies, happy to be here.
Can we see you in that little table? Like
not today.
Not today. Okay.
The table is full today.
How are you, Kelly?
I'm really great.
Freezing in Wisconsin, and we're having another heat wave. Sorry.
Are you really? Oh my gosh. Well,
Beautiful.
It's been like 30.
85.
And I discovered a new app here called WF
WTF weather
forecast.
Yeah.
No, what the forecast? WF forecast.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's hysterical.
WTF.
It's hysterical. Just WF forecast. And it really is what the forecast. Because when you look at this forecast, you're like, there's no way a girl from LA lives here. It's not possible, actually. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Is that the post that you sent me?
Yes.
Like Mother Nature is something about douchebaggery. It was so funny.
It was hysterical. Yeah, no, it's an interesting place, but I'm loving it. I love it. It gives me time to think. It's peaceful. It's beautiful.
Oh, nice.
And I'm excited to have you come and join us here. So
I know I'm going to spend New Year's with Kelly. Yay! Kelly and Don. I'm so excited. Maybe we'll do a live thing from there.
We certainly can. You can use Dawn's studio. Be great.
Yeah,
well, normally I do the astrological aspects of what's going on. But today we have such a special show today.
We sure do. Yes, we do.
Really do. And really, John, thanks for arranging this. I mean, I'm so thrilled. Yeah. So we're going to have our first guest is Rachel Lang, and we're going to have her come in, in a few minutes. Well, in a minute, talk about this. But let me just introduce Rachel. Rachel Lang was on our show maybe 6 months ago, John, something like that. About that. And she's an extraordinary astrologer. She's also a healer. She's going to give us a full update of she's a writer. She's a speaker. She's going to give us a full update of what's going on astrologically. And then after that, we're going to have Shirley introduce another special guest that we have.
Yes.
That's really exciting here.
They work as a partnership, but we won't get to her just yet. Let's bring Rachel on, and you guys can riff about astrology and what the hell we have to expect with all the crazy.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, Dr. Shirley. It's so great to be back on your show.
We're so happy to have you.
Really. Yeah. So, Rachel, what do you think about all of this stuff going on?
There's so much going on right now. We are living in a really important time in our history, but it's also a really important time astrologically. And everything that we're going through right now, I'm sure a lot of people are kind of feeling like this is chaotic, or there's like a lot of sudden shifts, a lot of sudden changes.
Yeah.
You make plans, you think you're going in one direction, and then all of a sudden the universe kind of takes you in a new place. Yeah. And this is sort of what's happening for all of us, but it's a time of preparing for what's coming in 2020. 2020 is it's like a brand new chapter for so many people, and especially for our cardinal signs, our Cancers, Aries, Capricorns, and Libras. You're the signs who are gonna feel this the most.
Really, why is that?
Well, what's getting ready to happen and I'll back up and talk about what's happening right now. And Kelly, feel free to interject at any point here. But there's a really significant transit that's happening in January. The planet Saturn, which is kind of like our planetary police officer. It's like the planet of authority and commitment and responsibility.
Super ego.
Super ego, exactly. It's the super ego planet. Yeah. Is meeting up with Pluto. And Pluto is all about breaking things down to rebuild them in a better way.
Really what she's saying, this is fierce. This is an intense time. And there's an eclipse right near there, too. 2 eclipses.
Yes.
Really fierce.
Yep, exactly. And we're going to get a preview of that on the 25th of December of next month with one of those eclipses, the solar eclipse. So everything that we're experiencing right now is kind of a build up to that point. This Saturn-Pluto conjunction happens once every 34 years.
Wow.
And in the sign of Capricorn, which is Saturn's own sign, it's a time that it's a time of kind of breaking down, rebuilding some of those ego structures that are in your life. So things that you know, things that have structured your life, like either from religion or from government, from your society, from like kind of those institutional ideas. And so it's a breakdown of a lot of those things. And so I think we'll see this in government. I think we'll see this in politics. I think we'll see this in religious institutions. And
very interesting.
Yeah. So, but it's a big change, and it's all for progress. It's all for our growth.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah. So it's a significant time, and right now we're getting little tiny previews of that, and especially this upcoming week. So right now we're in the middle of Mercury retrograde. And Kelly, do you have anything you want to share about Mercury retrograde? I know you've been talking about it.
We've been talking about it. You know, this one in particular is about letting go. And it's going to prepare us for this 2020. And I have been saying all along, 2020, the year 2020 means clear seeing. So in order to see clearly, I mean, it's funny. I have so many clients that they meet somebody and then they get all starry-eyed over this person. And then, like, you know, the next day they're like, what happened? They're seeing things clearly now. Things are starting to happen to people that they can step back and see things clearly. And I think this Mercury retrograde is bringing that on. I think this Mercury retrograde is going to help people it's a good thing in the sense that it's going to help release all the old stuff and almost forces people to see things clearly.
Wow. Is that in all areas or just relationship area?
A lot in relationships, but it's in work. Yeah. It's in every area. It's anything. It brings it back to review, renew, redo. Yeah, those kind of things. But this in particular, this one is more so.
Yeah, it's in the sign of Scorpio.
Yeah,
which is the sign that relates to that which is hidden, like all of our psychological, and Dr. Shirley, you'll appreciate this. So the subconscious, the unconscious aspect of ourselves. And so it's a time where we're really bringing a lot up to the surface. And so as a result of that, we're going through our own personal shifting and our own personal healing and growing. And then relationships are, you know, we're seeing truth. We're seeing the truth of who our partners are. Yeah. And things that we've projected onto them, or ideas of who we thought they were, and now we're seeing like, oh wait, that's not exactly.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You'll
and
see.
So it's actually cool. It's a cool time. What's that?
I said, Shirley, you'll see with your patients. You'll start to notice that all of a sudden they'll have some awakening moment. Like, wait a minute. And you can always help them along by, you know, exploring what is it that they saw, because this is not a time to hide things any longer. I saw that. That's what it is.
You know, it's funny. I've had that. I've had some pretty big shockers. Actually, this past weekend with some of my clients, things that I hadn't experienced with them before. And, you know, in checking in with them today, it brought up a lot of insights and reality checks. So it's difficult to go through, but it certainly has opened them up. So it's exactly what both of you were talking about that I've already been seeing with some of my clients. Yeah.
It's amazing. Well, it's, you know, I think that some of those situations could come to a head on the 24th.
Right.
Between the 24th and the 27th, really.
November.
Of November.
Okay.
What's happening on the 24th is that Mars is the planet of passion. It's the planet, also the planet of conflict, and it's the planet of like my needs.
Go together?
I know.
Go together.
I know they do. Well, I think in any good relationship, if you have a good amount of conflict, you have a good amount of passion.
That's
I mean, healthy,
true.
not like, you know, not anything that goes to the extreme, but you know, these are motivating forces. You know, conflict motivates growth.
Yeah.
Good, healthy conflict, not unproductive, abusive conflict.
Yeah.
And passion, you know, enlivens us. It gets us together so that we can make families and create things, and it sparks fire.
It's life force.
Yep, exactly.
It's so funny to go with what you're saying. I'll never forget my first mentor at UCLA. He was just kind of told it like it is. And I was all proud, my first boyfriend. Oh, we never get into a fight. And he goes, that's not good. Because it's what you're saying. The conflict can cause two people to actually feel closer after you've resolved it. And how, I'm so excited. My face just dropped. That's not good.
Yeah. So these situations that are all coming to the light, and that awareness that we're all uncovering right now, it's going to spark whatever courage needs to happen for change for us to create change in our lives. And Uranus is kind of like out of the blue. It's unexpected.
Surprise.
It's like the here in California, those Uranus was really active in California's chart during all the fires last year. And so it's like this force, this like unexpected, powerful, dynamic energy.
Wow.
With Mars, which is like feisty, so there's just a lot of like that unsettled, sort of restless, drive for change and drive for something new and drive for freedom. And so it's a good time to really face some of your fears and face some of your limits and some of the things that might hold you back and cause you to not feel free in your life, in your relationships, in your work.
Yes.
So it's this is the time to face that stuff, that subconscious stuff, so that when we get into 2020, you're ready to rock. And you don't have to have any upsets or any kind of challenges that force you to look at those changes.
That's really true. This is the time to really look at things. And if you're having trouble looking at them, in the next few days, things should get clearer. These planets bring a lot of clarity because they bring so much intensity. And it's going to be quite a week, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quite a week.
Absolutely. But then things get really fun on the 27th and the 26th, that new moon is a really fun moon. And then when the sun moves into Sagittarius and things kind of lighten up a little bit before they go intense again. So so that's good.
What is it about? What would it mean for people who don't feel anything and just kind of are going along their way and aren't going to feel anything? Which maybe is, the majority may, but what would cause that, or what would that be about for people who?
Yeah, great question. Well, it's so much of what's happening for the collective, how it relates to you depends on where these planets fall in your chart. So for example, I said our cardinal signs, Libra, Aries, Cancer, and Cancer's especially, because there's a lot opposing Cancer sun. But our cardinal signs are going to feel this the most. And Capricorn's the other cardinal sign. But there are other signs who, or within the sign, there are 30 degrees within each sign. And some degrees get to slide by. There, those planets aren't interacting with your chart. But and so for those people, they're probably going to be the support for other people who are going through a lot of change.
Wow, what a great way of putting it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That makes sense to me. And if it makes sense to my left brain, well, I'm able to kind of wrap my mind around it when it makes sense, because not everybody feels it, and that's such a beautiful explanation that maybe it's not in their chart. So then they get to say the support to the people around them who might be.
And just a reminder, everybody gets their chance in the barrel. Everybody gets their
turn. Is that what you're saying, Cal?
Everybody. May not be your time now, but it will be. I know. This is why we come here. We come to this planet for this. We come to this dimension for this, to learn. So we'll look at this as an extraordinary time for learning and growth, and
well, it's certainly happening at broader scales. Government.
It is. It sure is.
Yeah. So why don't we introduce Tish? Let me put on my eyes. So
yes.
I get her. Oh my goodness! Hold on. Where did we go. Okay, so who we have on next is TISHA Morris. She's a feng shui expert, intuitive coach, and self-help author who's been featured on ABC's Life with Kelly and Ryan. Oh, I want to ask her some questions about that. Hay House Radio, TodayTalk.com, Elle Decor, ABC News, Well and Good, and a contributor to Spirituality and Health magazine. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. TISHA is the co-author of Clutter Intervention, How Your Stuff is Keeping You Stuck. Oh, that'll be a fun topic to talk about. Talking about, didn't you say, Kelly, it's all about letting go now?
That's right.
So she's written many books. Let's see, another one is Decorating with the 5 Elements of Feng Shui, Mind, Body, Home, Transform Your Life One Room at a Time. That would be good for me. Feng Shui Your Life, the quick guide to decluttering your home and renewing your life. And she is also, oh my gosh, she's an attorney and also obtained a fine arts degree in interior design. She's a certified Feng Shui consultant, life coach, energy healer, and yoga instructor. She's based in Los Angeles and works one-on-one with clients in their homes and businesses, and also facilitates workshops and certification trainings. Wow. Well, we are so happy to have her. Welcome, TISHA.
Thank you. Hi.
There she is.
Hi.
Hi.
Feeling a little left out of the astrology conversation.
You probably have a few things to share. Do you?
I have a lot to share because, I hear you guys talking about astrology, and I just see how feng shui and decluttering, and we can, break that down and what that really means, how it can really facilitate these times for people. You guys were talking about Scorpio and things hidden and things coming out to be seen. Well, that's really what decluttering is all about. Our Scorpio is our skeletons in the closet, literally, that are needing to be decluttered. And so one of my biggest passions with decluttering is actually Scorpio energy, and being able to see what you've been hiding, literally, figuratively. So anyway,
that's interesting. Well, tell us first, because I'm dying to know, how did you go from being an attorney to how did you get to Feng Shui?
I had a bridge between there and I went to interior design school while I was practicing law. Law ended up not being a lot of fun. So so I had to find something else to do on the side. And then around that time, I started practicing yoga, and that really introduced me to understanding energy and the mind-body connection. And then over time, it was a house that I bought that I began to understand what I call now the mind-body-home connection. So we have mind-body medicine, but the home is just another extension of our mind and body. And so I kind of, over several years, kind of correlated all the aspects of the house to our psyche, ourself. And so that was, so feng shui just kind of wouldn't leave me alone. And so I studied it formally, and then began to hang my shingle up and build a holistic arts practice, and then gradually letting go of practicing law. So,
wow, that's amazing. I mean, what a transition, from law, which can be, I think you can use a lot of intuition in law, but it's very
absolutely,
and
yes. But the yoga, I call yoga being the gateway drug, because it, for so many, it's like the introduction into understanding more of than the 3-dimensional world.
Well, they've done a lot of studies and research come out with yoga, where it really gets you connected with the body, and so it works really well for trauma.
Yes,
to heal trauma as well. Yeah, yeah. So wow. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the decluttering and how the home. I mean, I think from a psychological standpoint, we know that the home can represent what's going on in someone's mind. For a kid who lives in the parent's home, it's their room, and kind of what might be, either the crazy in there or the confusion or the chaos, actually, more than, So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could pretty much look at anyone's home, and similar to Rachel looking at someone's astrology chart, I can tell you what's going on in your life. I can look at a floor plan and tell you experiences that you're going to be having while living there.
Oh my!
I could look at an individual room, and we could all look at each of our spaces and be like, oh, I can see that you have a hobby in yoga or whatever. Our space gives so much away of ourselves, and but then there's the stuff that we hide, that we don't want to deal with. and that's usually where our clutter is in the drawers, the spaces that we don't want to deal with. So that's where things get real interesting, in my opinion.
I saw that one of your books, you have, if you want to change your life, you must move things in your home. I love that quote.
Yeah, there's an old Chinese proverb that if you want to change your life, move 27 things in your home. So the number 27 is special in feng shui because it's about letting go. So 27 is a 9. 2 plus in numerology. So 9 is the number for completion and letting go. So so that's what that's based on.
Wow. So do you actually help people figure out what these things that is important for them to move, or how do you work when you're working with a client?
So when I first started practicing feng shui, I noticed that clients kept on asking me, what can I add to my space? Where can I put a plant? Where can I put a crystal? Where can I put, whatever? And I was like, no. What we need to do is edit. We need to remove things first. And almost everyone's home so I came up with what I call my 3-step process to feng shui your life. And the first step is removing, because working in spaces is the same as working in our mind or our body. We're creating space in order for energy to flow. Okay? And so that's where I can look in someone's house visually, but also intuitively, and sense where there's blocks. Because if there's energy blocks in your home, then there's going to be blocks in your life. Our home is just an exact mirror of our life. And so when you make changes in your home, there will be changes that happen in your life. It's just like science.
That's so interesting. So what's an example of a block where in the home would point to a block, in an area of your life? Like, would it be work or relationships or family?
Yeah. So, it could be something as small as a old love letter from an ex that you're still hung up on that's affecting your current relationship, or it could be something as big as an armoire that you inherited from someone who you had a not good relationship or familial ancestral issue with. And so it can be like a literal block where it's actually blocking the flow of the energy in the house. You can feel it in your breath when you move things. If you just tap in, you can feel like you can breathe. But it could also, like I said, it could be something that's highly emotional that your subconscious is aware of, but you've kind of stuffed it in your nightstand and not really think you're thinking about it.
How do you let go of something emotional? My stepfather is moving. My mother died, and he's got a whole giant mansion full of emotional things.
Yeah.
And how does one, and of course I just moved and I still have a lot of things like that too. How does one let go of that? Or do you have any tips on that, on the emotional part?
The emotional piece.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So my book, Clutter Intervention, the whole premise of it is once you know why you're holding on to something, the letting go is actually really easy. So a lot of people don't really know that there's an emotional attachment. Now, things from inherited items from a loved one, obviously that's obvious that there's emotion there. And that takes a extra time and handling. That's kind of a separate, I don't call that clutter. That's processing, and usually where you are in that process is where you are in the grief process. So the stuff will mirror where you are in the grief process. And I'm sure, surely you've had experience with clients and how your things, because like the physical tangible that's left can be such a cathartic way of processing grief. So I kind of put that in a separate category than our other stuff, although it's all the same. Really, at the end of the day, letting go is grief. I mean, it really, the title of my book should have been like How to Grieve.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound fun. Because when we're letting go anything from the past, we're grieving. And that's actually that's why decluttering is why we avoid it, is because we're avoiding feeling. We're avoiding these feelings of letting go and grief. And yet, obviously, to start anything new or to have anything new in our life, we have to let go of the past or let go of what's not working or old aspects of ourselves that are no longer relevant to today. to today.
Yeah.
It's like a snake shedding its skin.
Yeah. How would you then? Would you then suggest that people get rid of all that stuff? Like I've got pictures from just my whole life, and to me, pictures are so. I love them, and I don't know that I would, that I'd want to give them away, even if they're old relationships, just because they mean so much. It was a part of my life. So is your recommendation to always that someone, in order to move forward, always has to kind of give those up, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. The way I define clutter is anything that's keeping you stuck in the past. Okay, memorabilia and nostalgic items, if they're providing you a stepping stone for moving forward, to there's obviously we all have pasts, and that makes up who we are today, and that's a great thing. And to look back and see those things is very valuable. But if there's things that are actually anchoring you to the past that are where you don't feel like you're moving forward in your life in some area, that's when you want to look. And it will usually be in a particular area, like you mentioned, relationship or job, or if you're. So I really approach decluttering from what, if anything, is not working in your life. Is there something you're not manifesting that you want, a relationship, or you feel where do you feel stuck in your life? And your stuff will mirror that. And so if your relationships are very happy, then then decluttering pick photos is not necessary for you.
That's so fascinating. Now, I know that Rachel and TISHA, you guys work together, right? So I would have to guess that there's things that you see patterned, Rachel, in people's astrological sign, right?
Yeah,
right
absolutely.
along with what TISHA does.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Well, so our house is like this ongoing feng shui experiment, and it's really fun to see the changes. So whenever she makes some kind of small adjustment, there are immediate changes that happen. Like, for example, if we make a change to the wealth corner of the house, there will be some kind of opportunity that comes within days, or something will happen. I mean, it's like it's real time. And often those changes that you're inspired to make, or that we're inspired to make, do coincide with astrological transits or things that are happening. We don't always make exact correlations with the astrology, but yeah, it's incredible to see the real time effects of decluttering, especially.
That's fascinating. So wait, you guys are partners.
So yeah, we're married.
We're married.
The powerhouse is literally
powerhouse. They're both powerhouses, girl.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, I noticed there's a red pillow on the couch behind you, and I was always told that like you add a little piece of red in a room for feng shui. Is that accurate? And what does that mean exactly?
Well, the red pillow was really.
I can't.
I really like the color red. So the red pillow was just for the space. But TISHA, I'll let you speak to feng shui and the color red.
Well, gosh, there's a lot to say about the color red, but I did want to. I wanted to speak for Rachel, and where I thought Kelly's question was going about letting go. I thought you might talk about fixed signs and having, like, some signs do have a hard time letting go.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah, you're absolutely right.
What are some of those signs?
Fixed signs are Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo, and they tend to be a little bit more resistant to change, and have a more challenging time letting go of the past, letting go of things from the past, or and Cancer signs too can be nostalgic. So they can, even though TISHA's a Cancer and she's, a decluttering expert. Yep. But wow. Cancers can hold on to the past, and for different reasons than fixed signs. For fixed signs, sometimes it's a fear of change, or once they commit to something, they're going to stay with it, whether it's a job or a person. And our stuff, as TISHA's book articulates so beautifully, our stuff is representative of our identities, of our aspects of our ego selves. So some signs do have a more challenging time letting go.
That's very interesting and very accurate, I might add.
Yeah.
So tying it with the red, so the red in feng shui is actually the fire element, which there's not really an exact correlation to Western astrology, but we'll go there. And so fire signs, tell us who the fire signs are, Rachel.
Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So
they might be attracted to red, the fire sign. But fire, little like Kelly noticed the red pillow. I mean, it adds like a punch of fire. It's like it's energy. It's kind of like the Mars.
It's energy. That's
like
what
Mars.
It feels like.
Yeah. But red also is it neutralizes negativity too. Isn't that correct, Tisha?
Oh.
Doesn't if you have your bathroom if you have your bathroom in the wealth corner, for example, or the love corner, which isn't ideal for the bathroom placement, then tying red ribbons around the pipes can be a remedy for neutralizing some of that water energy.
Oh, that's interesting. Now Rebecca's asking
astrology.
What's that?
Sorry,
there's actually.
So, Rebecca's asking about the wealth corner where it is. So,
straight from the heart.
There is.
Oh my gosh! Hang on one second. Somehow Alexa decided.
Oh,
okay.
She wanted to be part of this.
Alexa's like, I'm red too.
And it's red. Okay. Oh,
that was good.
That just happened.
Clearly, Aries.
Kelly would have done that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Somebody wanting attention, but I love it.
To the Aries.
Yep.
So
where's the wealth corner?
So in feng shui, there's what's called the Bagua map, and I won't get too scientific, but it's basically a tic-tac-toe board over your floor plan. And an easier way to explain it, just real quick, if you stand at the front entrance of your house, think about whatever's in the back left corner of your house, the back left corner from the front door, and that would be the wealth corner.
Okay.
And so just as a really quick, like feng shui 101. So with the wealth corner, you would want to make sure to declutter it. So first step, removing anything that's blocking it. It could be cat litter. It could be tax documents that haven't been filed away. It could be anything, like Rachel was saying, if there's a bathroom there, then the plumbing, your finances get flushed down, unfortunately. But yeah, that's one thing that's one way. And then after you remove anything that's kind of from the past, that's where the decluttering part comes in. Then you can adorn it with a crystal or, a myriad of options that we use in feng shui. But decluttering, if you just start and stop there, you will have such quick change. And that's really why I wrote a whole book on decluttering, because I found it to be, of all the modalities that I've practiced, to be the quickest way to make change. So
that's so interesting. Now, so when you're talking about this, the front door, and it's the furthest corner on the left. Now, what if someone has like a decorative something there? When you talk about decluttering, does that mean they should move that? If it's not cluttered and they just have, let's say it's a chair, placed right on the corner, and that would happen to be the furthest left from the door, what would you?
So if they like the chair, it's functional, doesn't have a broken leg, it's a chair they like, then it's not clutter. Yeah.
It's not.
I have a question. I think that's my bedroom. I'm sitting there doing the tic-tac-toe, and I think that room is the bedroom.
Yeah, that's good. That works.
That's a good. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no clutter in that room.
Good.
Honestly, there's no clutter in that room. Now we're going to be remodeling that room, but there's no clutter in that room. But that's okay to have the wealth room in the bedroom.
Yes. Yes. Okay. The function of the room oftentimes doesn't correlate with.
Okay.
And that's okay. It's kind of nice when it does happen that way, but it's that is something I kind of do look for when I'm house shopping. Feng shui is the best to apply when you're looking for a house or a place to rent or because the floor plan is very influential. And there's most of our job as a feng shui consultant is like remedying bad floor plans.
Wow. So that's interesting. I'm going to have to get your book immediately because I'm looking for a house right now. And so I'm going to have to walk in thinking.
Wait, I have a better idea. You should just bring her with you.
Right.
You're in LA.
I am going to.
Hello.
Once I choose. Oh my gosh. Okay. I am going to.
Yeah.
Because you want to start with, on the right.
Well, this house that we moved in a year ago to this house, and it's honestly, so my houses have been my guru, my best teachers of teaching me, and this house is finally like a really good feng shui house. And as soon as we moved here, and it's an 8 house, which in numerology is like really good. And as you mentioned in my bio, I got a call from the producers of Live with Kelly and Ryan. After that, I mean,
Wow.
And we've both had some great opportunities since moving here.
Wow,
So it has lived up to its feng shui.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that is fantastic. I mean, if you think about everything has energy, why wouldn't it?
And our home is a space where, I mean, because it's our second skin. It's like a crib to a baby, literally and figuratively. And so it holds our emotions, our thoughts, our desires, our wants. It's basically like our second skin, second brain. And so it also holds all of our energy. And so it holds our patterns. And so this is like why you might go off to a vacation and you like have all these ideas and dreams and thoughts. And when you get home, I'm going to change, start eating better or exercising better, whatever. You get home and you're right back in all your same energy patterns, and you just fall right back into your old patterns. It's because our home holds our patterns. And so that's why moving stuff around, the 27 things quote is actually quite, it sounds simple and kind of like a nice meme, but there's actually some real wisdom to it. Just moving, whether it's furniture or just items, or that can also be decluttering things. You're shifting energy. And so when you shift energy, change is going to happen.
It's so funny you said that. We just moved, and I still have boxes all over. And tomorrow, ironically, we have a mover that's coming to help us declutter. Actually, tomorrow it's going to be here at 9 o'clock in the morning. But because I knew he was coming, something just got to me, and I decided to go. We have this huge pantry. I mean, it's enormous, and I just started putting things away and getting rid of things. It felt so good. I can't describe that feeling. I keep looking at it. I said to my husband, "Look, isn't this great?" He's like, yeah. But to me, it was like a big deal. But there's something about that moving. So I'm fascinated by this idea of moving 27 things. And I loved also you have like 9 tips on decluttering. And I think is this from your book? I think it might be from your new book.
I think it's a blog post that's
I loved it. And it said,
share that with us?
Well, the second one, it says, it said, remove easy things first. It sounds like a simple statement, but it's pretty right on. I get like stuck going, oh, that's like too much. But if you start with a simple thing, easy things, it makes it so much easier. I love that tip.
Yeah, it gets energy moving. So you're going to have more energy yourself, since you're going to have more momentum and then motivation to actually, when you start getting into the more emotional items.
So what is it with people? And I have to say, my sister's extremely OCD, and I'm very much close. So once I put stuff the way I like it, I don't want to move it because I like it that way. So is it just to shift the energy? So things, even if there isn't like a huge thing that isn't working out or isn't flowing, is it just to move it just so things can move? Because once I put something, I like it. I like where I put it. So like my office has always been the same just because I liked it that way.
So, we don't have to go through change just for the sake of change. Usually life hands us enough change to where we don't go looking for it.
That's very true.
And at the same time, we want to be proactive so that life doesn't like blindside us. This is kind of similar to what you guys were talking about at the beginning of the show with the astrology and the upcoming transits and with the Saturn Pluto and kind of, how to get ahead of it, so to speak. And, we all want to kind of what I call manifest consciously instead of subconsciously. And so, yeah, we don't want to just change for the sake of change. But some people are a little more resistant to change. And so if you feel stuck, some people are more yin in nature. Some people are more yang in nature. Like I can kind of change too much a lot of times. So it's actually better for me to kind of go more yin, where someone else might need to have more change, to get them going, so to speak. And so it's a case by case or person by person basis. So yeah, you don't have to go change just for the sake of change. But if you feel stuck and like you just like need something new or new energy, that's when you would do that.
I see. Okay, yeah. That's what a wonderful.
And one thing that TISHA talks about too is that your home is like a great big vision board. And so I think also how this relates is that if you're wanting to manifest something in your life in some way, in your career or in your relationship or in your health, then going into that area of your home, you can ask yourself what is not supportive or what is not aligned to what I want to manifest or what my vision of what I want my life to look like is going to be. So maybe that's a starting point too, is thinking about not necessarily like where you're stuck, but what you want.
Yeah. Exactly. So I can look in anyone's bedroom and tell you the state of your relationship. I can go to
it's crazy.
And tell you the state of your business. So basically, if you were to put, the contents of your office, your bedroom, or your whole house onto a vision board, is it representative of who you are, who you want to be? I've been into some offices and where they hired me because things weren't moving, and their office was just full of pictures of their children. That's lovely and all, but it was clear that they wanted to be at home with their children, not at work.
Oh, wow.
Or the same with you only want photos, speaking of photos, pictures in your bedroom of you and your love, as opposed to like whoever you're in relationship with or want to be in relationship with. And so can be very literal for couples that have a lot of pictures of their children in their bedroom. It's usually indicative of the children taking a more priority in the relationship.
Yeah. So Rebecca says, my husband has a chest of drawers in that area with lots of papers from the past. Would that affect that wealth corner?
Yeah, so she's talking about her wealth corner. Absolutely. And here's the good news. I love when I find like a little hidden little minefield, because it shows you where you can like make instant change. And so if he were to declutter that chest, like something pretty immediate would be good would follow. So that's actually good news. Like when you can find a little area like that, it's like, yes, here's something I can like, have control over. I mean, like your home is the only space on this planet you have any conscious control over. And so if you're not conscious of your own space, then you're not going to be conscious or have any control over anything else in the world. And so this is like your best your best luck is right here.
So interesting. And so Susan's asking, how do I get my husband and son to get rid of their junk? They keep everything. And how would you help influence someone who's living in your home that maybe is, has a hard time getting rid of their stuff?
Gandhi was the best declutterer ever. He said, be the change you want to see in your own home. That was a joke.
So it starts with you decluttering, and then that kind of more role modeling behavior in a way.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm seeing that from experience as well. I mean, not with Rachel, but no,
it's true. When she goes through the closet and takes things, it actually inspires me to look through my closet. And I tend to hang on to things a little bit more than TISHA does. I mean, I have a lot of fixed planets in my chart. But when I see her closet looking really good, her side of the closet looking really good, or when I see things that she's giving away or things that she's doing, it actually causes me to stop and look around and say, what can I let go of, or what can do I need everything? And so it can be an inspiration.
Is there a rule about that, Tisha, about with decluttering your closet? Like, how long do you keep things? How do you make that choice to let that go, that piece?
Yeah, I'm all about implementing systems. I mean, once you kind of get, I mean, once you, the emotional stuff is another kind of a ball of wax. But as far as like just daily, your everyday stuff, yeah, having a system is really helpful. I mean, anytime I buy clothing is kind of my Achilles heel. We all have an area that's kind of our little trouble spot, and the clothes is mine. So every time I buy a new item, I get rid of an item. If at least one, sometimes even more. And so that's my rule. And I, for some people, it's if you haven't worn it in a year. For some people, it might be if you haven't worn it in 5 years. But that's different for everyone, because some people like to wear clothes, like their styles are different to where they can, wear things from 5 years ago, or so forth. So it's a little bit different from everyone. But knowing what works for you is really helpful.
Now, can you, is it different types of things in different areas? So as an example, if someone has an issue with, say, clothes or shoes or kitchenware, does that point to a different area in their life that you would be able to kind of make educated guesses on, or that would inform your questions?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Everything is a symbol of something.
So what would be just as an example, what would be clothes, for example, or kitchenware? I mean, pick one
clothing
maybe
is definitely your identity in the world. It's like our uniform that we put on. And so clothing can be very powerful for making changes, and particularly with the astrology coming up. And you guys were talking about, or Rachel was talking about ego structures. And so we're going through a collective identity changes with the Saturn Pluto.
Or crisis.
Yeah, crisis. So people are having like new relationships, new jobs, new roles, new cities, new identities. And that's big stuff. I mean, these are ego structures. And so our clothing is very much says so much about our identity. Whether it's a suit from when you had to wear business suits, or work shirts with logos. I mean, you wouldn't believe how challenging that is for people to let go of a shirt with like
it was their identity. Sure.
Yeah.
And so there's usually a reason. There's a deeper reason usually what that identity represents. For example, I give a story in my book about my last lawsuit, a business lawsuit that I got rid of, and it had not been practicing or had not worn it in years, and yet it was still hanging in my closet, and it was not a style that I would wear again. So I finally was like, okay, what's really going on with this, Tisha? And so it wasn't. I had let go of the identity of being an attorney, but what I had not fully let go of was approval from my parents, being accepted in the mainstream, because by then I was doing, kind of woo-woo stuff, not being financially like appearing to be financially, solid or whatever. So it was these underlying identities that I was really still hanging on to. But what's more interesting about the story is that as soon as I let it go, that next week, I had so many, like triple the amount of clients emailing me for appointments. It's like, once you let something go that holds a lot of emotion, it allows space and new energy to come in.
You're actually making this exciting for me now to let go of stuff. Shirley, I'm like, second I'm off of here, I'm through my closet already.
I was thinking the same thing as you're talking. I'm going through all the stuff that I can let go of, especially since I'm looking for a house. I want to start to and you've really inspired me to look at some. I have an Armani suit that I haven't worn, maybe wore it 3 times from, I don't know, 20 years ago. And it's actually, I had pulled it out and I had hanged it. Okay, I'll try that on and see if it fits. And if it doesn't, then maybe. But I've had it for 20 years. So I'm thinking of all the stuff. That is so interesting.
Yeah. So if you kind of be your own detective, and there's an identity that you still have attached to that Armani suit of something going on in your life at that time. I mean, it sounds very prosperous. And so here's the one takeaway I want to definitely leave with people is it's not not letting go of Armani Shirley. You're actually whatever that identity was, you're actually integrating it into who you are now. Okay.
Oh.
And then moving into Dr. Shirley 2.0. Okay. So it's not about letting go of those old pasts. It's about integrating it and then upgrading to the new version of yourself. And that's where we are in the collective in this astrology right now.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
My mind is blown.
That actually went into my system. Yeah. That was,
I mean, I got it.
I got it.
Wow. I mean, what a fantastic way to describe it and to work through it like that. I mean, I love that spiritual connection and that really psychological connection that goes with it too.
Mm-hmm. And Mercury retrograde is a great time to do this. You know, it's a time when we are like already doing the deep soul searching and we're already integrating those parts of ourselves that have been cut off or have been dormant or have been in the shadows. Mm-hmm. And I would also say that whenever the moon is in Virgo, we tend to be a little bit more discerning about what we have in our space and what we want and what we don't want. And it's a better time, like when the moon's in Taurus, for example, that's not the best time to let go of things, you know? It's because you're like, oh, my stuff, I love, it's like when you want to go shopping when the moon's in Libra, when the moon's in Taurus, when the moon's in Leo. But when the moon's in Virgo, you are not eating as much. You are clearing your cabinets. So this is Mercury retrograde's a good time. And if you don't have time in the next few days while Mercury is still retrograde, then when the moon enters Virgo, just watch for that. And that's another really, really good time to clear off your calendar and do some major decluttering.
And there's always the shadow of Mercury, so that's going to last.
Yes,
for
a couple of weeks. Yep, exactly.
And hey, ladies, I've got some calls for you, and I know we're running out of time. Can you believe we only have less than 10 minutes of the show? So let's get to our last.
Oh yes, let's do that. Unfortunately, I have to jump off right at 7. I have some clients coming.
You got it. Area code 417. I believe this is Maureen. Is that correct? From Missouri.
Yes, that is correct.
Hi, Maureen.
Hello. I've loved this show. This has been a great, inspiring talk today. So my question is I am on the verge of making a career change. And what area of the home would I need to impact to help make that change?
Is it a completely different field or just like a different job?
It's a different field.
Okay. Great. So do you have a home office?
I do, but it's also a spare bedroom and a catch-all.
Would the new career / job be, would you be working outside the home or in the home?
Well, it's kind of a two-step process. I work in the medical field right now, and I'm moving away from that, and I'm going to be doing some home care for my parents. But ultimately, I'm leaning more towards doing eventually some more energy type work.
Okay. So there's a quick step and then a long-term step for you. The first step is the clothing that we talked about. So decluttering any of the clothes from the past medical job that's related to that you don't use or wear anymore. That would be a quick way to start moving into the new vibration. The longer term remedy would be that home office / guest bedroom. The problem with home offices that share with a guest bedroom is that the desk and the bed compete with what we call the power position. And so you kind of have to, once you're ready to really own whatever work, the healing work or whatever work they're going to be using that home office for, at that point, you really want to set it up to be you want to set yourself up to win. Let's just put it that way. In that case, setting the desk up in what we call the power position. You can Google it online. It's really easy to find. But usually the bed usually steals the show, unfortunately, in guest bedrooms. And so you end up facing the wall, literally and figuratively, in your work. And so, and if you're doing healing work, there might be a healing table involved as well. So you're gonna have to make some decisions. And anytime we make decisions, then the energy shifts, pretty dynamically. So that will be your longer term solution.
Excellent. Thank you so much. You guys have been great.
Thanks so much for calling.
Thank you for
Appreciate
calling.
you calling. Thanks, Maureen.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. So moving on to our next caller, we have Janine from New York. Hi, Janine.
Hi, John. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Janine.
Hi, sweetheart. Do you have a question for us?
I do have a question. As you guys know, I had a fire in January, and my daughter and I were in a hotel, and they cleaned all our clothes, and we literally got back like 25 boxes and all these clothes on a hanger, and we've literally been purging probably about 6 to 8 times since then. We're back home. It's extremely nice to have a place for everything. And when we wash clothes, we're able to just put them away. Everything has its place. Yeah. But under my bed, I literally have a bed that is made for like totes to go underneath. And that is where all the extra stuff is going. And I know it's not good to sleep, have, tons of stuff under your bed. So I'm wondering if there's a way to offset this.
You're correct. That isn't the best. And unfortunately, sometimes it's necessary given the limitations of space. So if you just have to use the underbed as storage, I would store things in. I would be very mindful of what you store there. Think about whatever's under your bed. Think about that you're literally sleeping on top of that, because that's what's happening energetically. So linens, towels, like soft things, definitely nothing emotionally heavy. Nothing literally hard or sharp. So I would, maybe you could get away with some clothes, but just be like, just declutter them really well to where it's.
Everything is pretty much like in totes. So it's pretty well organized, but it's completely full.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can only do what you can do in certain spaces, and and our spaces represent where we are in our life. And sometimes we're in these transitional spaces, and they represent these transitional times that we're in as well. So, our home is always about the journey, not the destination. That's why we'll never have the perfect home, because it's a representation of ourselves, and we're always a journey. So transitional times, there's transitional situations that we do. So, yeah.
Well,
okay, great.
Thank you.
Just wanted to make sure I wasn't giving myself any more bad mojo.
Well, how are you sleeping at night? Are you sleeping very well, Janine?
I seem to be sleeping a lot. I mean, I have autoimmune stuff going on too, so I have like illnesses I'm dealing with, and I just I would I like to keep my side of the road clear. I like to give myself the best opportunity to deal with whatever life throws at you. So I just I wanted to keep things moving, kind of thing.
No.
Yeah. I mean, if there's a better place, if you have any other place you can store those, that would be better. But.
Yeah, not right now. So like you said, maybe another time.
Yeah, be easy with yourself. I mean, that was a traumatic experience to go through.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Fire. I mean, wow. All right. Well, keep in touch with us and let us know how everything's going. All right. You take care. We're running out of time, sweetie.
You too.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank
you for calling.
Take care. Bye.
All right.
So is there anywhere that they can reach you? I think you guys have a blog, right? And let's put up, John, the book again.
You got
it. I'm actually ordering it tonight.
Yeah, me too.
And do you guys have a blog, or where can people reach out to you, or read a little bit more, or listen a little bit more about what you do and how you do it? And
my website's TISHAMORRIS.com. And so from there you can find anything you want. I have tons of free resources on there. Of course, links to my books and all of that stuff.
Wonderful. John, would you be able to put that up on our Facebook?
Oh yeah, I already have. Yep.
Oh.
It's already up there.
Step ahead. Always step ahead. And what about you, Rachel?
Mine is rachelllangastrologer.com.
Okay.
And I have horoscopes and articles and all kinds of stuff, meditations.
Follow her on Instagram. She's like constantly updating you on what's going on in the world. So.
Yeah, and she is too.
I love following you, and I'll start following you, Tisha. I love following you, Rachel. I love your astrological highlights. I love them. So everybody, she's a great astrologer.
Yes, and we share those in the group. So if you're not a part of our group, join our group, Both Sides Now TV community group. That's our support group. We go live every Thursday as well, in addition to Mondays when we do the show. So check in with us, join the group, tell your friends. We are running out of time. Shirley has a client, so we've got to go real quick. But you guys take care of yourselves. Thank you so much, Tricia and Rachel.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you
for coming on the show. We will have you on
for 2020.
We will have you on for 2020.
All right.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Night,
Thanks
everybody.
so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now, featuring the unconventional duo Dr. Shirley and Kelly White. Two perspectives, one world.